Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Aves Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Legends Armadillo Build-A-Figure Wave Spider-Man figures. This is the No Way Home Spider-Man. I think this is technically called the... Nope, it is. It's the integrated suit. It says it on there. I didn't see that until I just saw it. But it is the integrated suit, and I knew that without seeing the movie. I don't know how I knew that. Anyway, this is a pretty darn good figure if you're into the MCU Spider-Man designs. I'm guessing this is one you may want to look into, and that's why we're going to review it. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 15 centimeters, which makes him pretty close to, let's say 5 7/8 inches, and that's pretty good scaling, I think, for Marvel Legends, and it's a pretty darn good looking figure. But first, we're going to do a quick question of the day. If you've seen the new movie, did you like it or did you not? I can't imagine most people are going to say no. I'm pretty sure most are going to say yes, just from what I've heard about it. I haven't seen it. Please try to avoid spoilers in the comment section below, just for other people. I already have spoiled myself completely. I gave up on movies a while ago, but please don't spoil it for other people. Okay, just let me know if you liked it or didn't, that's all. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the review, okay? Alright, so this guy, I don't know if this is accurate or not. I haven't been able to find a good source image. The only thing that stands out to me is his blue is gray. It's almost like a greenish gray, like just a hint of yellow in that gray. Not quite green, but yellowish gray. It's definitely on the warm side of the scale, which is a little interesting to me, but maybe that's how it is in the movie. I'm assuming they got it right. But otherwise, it's really cool looking, and assuming that's accurate, it is really cool looking. The paint job is really good for the detail work. If you look at the spider logo going around his chest, that's all embossed and painted. Very nicely done. We get the little red lines going around too. That's very nicely done. The arms are well done enough. The eyes are just about perfect, as much as you could ever expect on a mass-produced figure. That's nice. The little Iron Man type lights on the gauntlets, those look good. The boot details are good. That's all nice. Only a couple of things stand out to me as being a problem. The red painted on the crotch right here is darker and glossy than the red molded plastic here. And then the boots are painted red. They're not dark or glossy, but they are a different red than the molded red down here on the feet. Not super noticeable as you can see on camera, but it is a thing. Again, the shoulders are glossy and dark, same as the crotch. It could be better, but that's still pretty darn good, and the gold is a nice metallic gold. I'm very pleased with the paint job on this overall. I definitely could do without the weird red situation. Painting red sucks. They should have just molded everything and then painted the blackish gray on top, in my opinion. Alright, now as far as the sculpt goes, it's not bad. I will say his crotch is a little bit, or his hips are a little bit wide. There's a big crotch gap. And his shoulders are, though he has a pretty nice accurate V shape for what he looks like in the movie, the shoulders are a bit low. I might do a Photoshop on this. You guys seem to like the Photoshops, so maybe I'll do a Photoshop for this Spider-Man just to tighten him up a little bit, and you guys can see what he looks like, or what he would look like if he was just tweaked a little bit. I don't know why Hasbro likes to get their shoulders so low. It's kind of strange, especially on somebody like Tom Holland, who doesn't have exactly big traps, you know. So anyway, it's still a good looking figure though. It's nice. It doesn't have any noticeable terrible problems. There's lots of really good sculpt work going on, and like I said, the paint's nice. All of the pins are hidden, so if you like that, that's a good thing. If you don't care, then it won't matter. But yeah, it's a very, very nice looking figure overall. I will say the red for the molded parts is a bit plasticky, and some of you will get what I'm talking about. I know they're made out of plastic, but it has a certain unfinished quality to it because of the sculpted web lines and the semi-translucence of the plastic and the more faint coloring of the red. Or pale coloring, I should say. It could look a little better, but it's still a really darn good release, and it's one of the better examples of a Marvel Legends figure we've had in a while, at least for Spider-Man, from the aesthetic perspective. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 for the aesthetic. Let's talk about accessories. We do fall short here just a little bit. We have the 2 fist hands that come on in the package, and then we have 2 web whipping hands. And that's it. No wall crawling hands, nothing else. No web, nothing. Very, very minimal accessories, and that sucks. I think a gripping hand for swinging perhaps would be helpful, and a web. Seems like Spider-Man should have a web when there's nothing else in the package. So, especially since they've already got web molds out there, give him something. So 5 out of 10 for accessories. No bueno. Alright, as far as the articulation goes, I actually haven't looked at it too much. I do believe it's a double ball peg. Yes, it is. They're still working out the kinks on figuring out ball pegs apparently, but they did a pretty good job here. It works well enough. It could work a whole lot better, but it'll do. Like, they're getting there. They're getting there. You definitely have so much more posability options when you have the ball pegs, the double ball pegs. You can't achieve that look right there. The turn to the head and lean the head at the same time, you can't achieve that with the standard Marvel Legends articulation. So I'm very happy to have that. You get so much more nuanced posing if you're into that sort of thing, which you should be because these are articulated action figures. So that's awesome. Still could be better. We're getting there. They're inching their way towards that finish line. The butterfly joint seems underdeveloped because it doesn't go very far forward and it doesn't go very far back despite the large cutout. So yeah, you can kind of get it forward. Like they did the cutout a little bit right to bring the arm that way, but it still doesn't go all the way. It doesn't have the ability to go that way. And as far as the back goes, it just doesn't go. You can't get it any farther than that. So we have a big cutout, but no range. So the butterfly joint's not a good butterfly joint on this guy. That's a bummer. Shoulders are standard though, that's good. Not quite horizontal, that's not good. Uh-oh, this figure's losing points fast. I wasn't expecting that. Alright, we got our bicep swivel. Every time we get new molds, I expect them to have solved problems that used to exist, but they don't seem to. And I know that sometimes figures are in the works for a long time before they get released. But if it's a new mold, it can't be that long, so, you know, it should be having things fixed on it. Anyway, double jointed elbow works pretty well. That's nice, good range. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge, of course. How does the diaphragm joint work? Let's find out together. It does go back. They did paint through. He has a little bit of the pot belly thing going on. I really wish they would figure out their radiuses to get this to not be a problem. He's got definite pot belly. Like, this just really, really ruins the look. He looks broken. As a human, he looks broken as opposed to bending backwards. And going forward works pretty well, better than others. But again, we have a big lump here, and I get why that lump is there because the spine curves this way, but there are ways to not have that. So that's a little bit undesirable, but I don't think you're going to pose him leaning forward and then look at his back too much, unless you're going to do like a swinging away pose for a photograph or something. But yeah, that could be better. It could be a lot worse, but it definitely could be better. Waist twist is fine, no problems there. Let's get these arms up and out of the way here. The hips go out to the side very nicely. Not perfect splits, but that's good enough, I think, for any reasonable pose you want to do with him. I think that's fine. Let's see how they do going forward. Yeah, pretty good. They go all the way horizontal. I like that. They go back just a touch. You don't need a giant thigh gap in order or the hips to stick out over here. You don't need that in order for the hips to work. All you have to do is set the pivot point farther out in the hip. You can bring the leg in pretty much as far as you want as long as the pivot point is in the right spot, and then it'll work. So this ugly hip sticking out of the waist sort of situation is not necessary. You don't need the big thigh gap either. Alright, thigh swivel is a thigh swivel. That's fine. Double jointed knees. Uh-oh. Ugh, there we go. Double jointed knees work nicely. I like that. It's a nice tight joint. I don't mean functionally tight, though it is. I mean, it's tight right here. Are we focused? There we go. There's not a big gap between the thigh and the calf, so that's good. Good range there. Not a bad looking joint. Still wish they would round these out instead of leaving them flat. That requires more sculpt work, so I don't know. They do that because it looks better from the front. You don't have as much of a gap by having these flat spots at the top and bottom of each of the joints. But if you rounded them off, it wouldn't look much different from the front. But when you pose it, you wouldn't get this big shelf effect. So that's my preference, to have them rounded, but they don't do that anymore. Alright, and then for the ankles, let's see how the ankles work on this guy. They go all the way back. That's good. They look like they're going to have some range forward. Yeah, nice range forward. That's good. I like that. And then you get a really nice ankle rocker and a nice angle. Not perfect, but a pretty good angle. So yeah, his articulation's not bad overall. We do have a few hiccups. Hips definitely could be better. Now they are functional, but they could look better. And then the shoulders could definitely be better, and the torso could definitely be better. But all in all, it's a pretty solid release. I think it's good enough. I'll give the articulation a 7 out of 10. The neck was on a good start. We had a nice double ball peg situation. Then some other things kind of fell flat. So yeah, it's decent. Okay, time for a final verdict on this guy. If you're a Spider-Man fan, if you're an MCU fan, go ahead and grab it. You're going to enjoy it enough. If you are not, then you may not, because it's not like extraordinary. The best thing about it is the paint, then the sculpt, and then the accessories are poop, and then the articulation is average. So I'm going to give it a final verdict of a high 7. I'm not going to give it a decimal point. I'll let you guys fill that in however you want to. A high 7 out of 10. The accessories and the articulation they aren't good enough to carry a higher rating than a 7. I think, even though the aesthetic's nice, these are Marvel Legends, and they need a Spider-Man Marvel Legend figure. I think needs to be able to pose better. So A little bit bummed out about that. So yeah, 7 out of 10. You guys can bump it up to like a 7.5 or 7.8 or something like that in your heads if you want to, but I'm leaving it at a solid 7. There it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.